news. Punch me in the face. This is so good. This is fantastic. This is even better. All I wanted was to see her in a suit. I really thought we were gonna get it tonight. Great for any other red carpet. Fuck me up and over. Love this. You can be a jumpsuit or you can be a dress. You cannot be both. Usually it's way worse. She ate, she tore, in fact. Great Mew Mew moment. She kind of invented this theme, so for that she gets a pass. Not Al Sharpton serving down. Too much happening. That is how you make a Met Gala debut. That hair is sabotage. We have our first flop. Ugh, so excited. I am impressed. Whoopi has stolen the night. I kind of hate how much I love it. That suitcase is so unnecessary. I'm obsessed. Try again. It's good color at least. Too much embroidery. I die for this suit. The train is too long. No, not right. Okay, I am a little worried that we're gonna see like too many versions of this tonight. Little worried. Slay. Fab. Who is this diva? What would happen if we took the sleeves off? This is what doing too much looks like. Also this. This I'm a little more okay with. Nailed it. How much did he pay to get in here? I want like a rough estimate. I love a man in a ballerina flat. How did neither of them try? See, this is how you do couple dressing. It's a little too tennis. Snatched all the way. This is really beyond. I kind of wish there was a...
This is beyond me. Let me tell you one thing. First and foremost, and I'm going to get to Dr. Joni 2's comment in a second, but welcome to Let It Be Known News. I am your host who is not as tired as my co-pilot.
Peace and love and fashion. I'm your co-host, Nielle, and we are going to jump into headlines, and we are really going to take a deep dive into what happened yesterday at the Met Gala. It's probably still going on right now.
The party, anyway.
Right. And Nikki, the gentleman that we just saw, I love his commentary when he does the takes on who's wearing what. His commentary is just fabulous. And it's only like 1 or 2 words for each person.
Let me tell you something. I don't know what Rihanna is thinking. If she's thinking that her and I are going to have any kids in the future, she can forget it now. This pregnancy is just outrageous. Pregnancy number 3. I mean, what is she thinking? This is Claudine or something? I mean, come on, Rihanna. Save some for the other guy, me. We had plans. We had a life.
If you don't go to your wife
every single time. Let me tell you something. Every single time ASAP breathes on her, she gets pregnant. What's going on, Rihanna? Looking all good.
Well, we're going to take a deeper dive into the Met Gala a little later with social commentator Al
Wait, but
Reynolds.
there's one. Yes, but one thing I want to say before you get to Al Reynolds later in the show, a serious thing, and I want the audience to chime in on this for real. A lot of folks are outraged on social media. I don't know if you know Lisa from the group Blackpink. She wore, like many, her underwear was all out, whatever. That's not the issue. But what was on her underwear? Photos of Rosa Parks. The internet's going crazy over her panties. Looks like Rosa's face is stitched into the garment. Now, she did work with Henry Taylor on her look. And, of course, some of his portraits are embroidered into her ensemble. But folks are saying this 28-year-old Lisa, highly disrespectful, having Rosa Parks on her panties. What do y'all think? Did you catch that, Nielle?
No, we haven't, but I'm sure we'll talk about it a little later in the show.
Yeah, I want to get their thoughts, though. I definitely want to get the audience's thoughts. Is that a way of paying tribute? Is that disrespectful? Let us know. Put it in the chat there. I want to know. So in other news, before we get
do we have a pop quiz?
Do we have a pop quiz? Yeah. Thank you for stopping me in my tracks there. You look nice in that red.
Thank you. Still feeling kind of dandy.
All right. So the Black Pop Quiz, which abolitionist born into slavery became one of the first Black women to win a U.S. court case against a white man fighting to reclaim her son sold illegally in Alabama. Oh my goodness, Greer is pulling out the heavy artillery. Which
Mm-hmm.
that's some question there. Do y'all know which abolitionist born into slavery became one of the first Black women, has to be a Black woman, to win a U.S. court case against a white man fighting to reclaim her son sold illegally in Alabama? That is a fantastic question. Put the answer in the
Yes.
chat. Wow. Do you know,
Yeah.
Neil?
No, but one thing you're gonna do over here at Let It Be Known is learn something every day. I know that's for sure.
You're gonna learn.
You're gonna learn something.
Orange G says that whole thing with Lisa from Blackpink is 100% disgraceful. Dr. Joni says, I think she could have paid tribute to Rosa in much better way. I don't understand high fashion, I'll admit, but it seems a very strange choice to me. And my man Memphis Jokes is watching this morning. I want to just say this about Memphis Jokes. Anytime, I used to say this about y'all know my history. I used to be really close with the Jacksons. I said, me and Jermaine and Tito, and we used to have these conversations. I used to say one thing I gave them credit for. I said, anybody who can stay on the stage and perform at high level with Michael Jackson, you know you are all that and then a bag of chips, as they say. Memphis Jokes got on stage on Saturday in Memphis, in his hometown, and rocked out with Public Enemy at one point while Memphis was doing his thing. Chuck was vibing with him, and Flavor Flav was on the drums. It was a show of shows. Congratulations to Memphis Jokes. That man is doing his thing. He's we've talked to him, talked about him many times. But y'all go check out the Memphis Jokes show on Wednesdays on YouTube. Memphis Jokes is the man. I saw the clips, and man, I am so proud of you. Great job. And I talked to Chuck a little bit over the weekend too after that performance. They are on tour, Public Enemy, with Guns N' Roses.
Mhm.
And he said when they get back, I told him I want to come to a show. I told him, me and Greer, I should have said Niel too. I said we want to come to a show, so hook us up. He said when he gets back, we are going to check out Public Enemy, and we're gonna bring the whole Let It Be Known crew with us and the cameras and everything. We going to check out Chuck and Public Enemy and Flavor Flav and them do their thing. They are rocking out. Chuck goes 100, Flav goes 100, and of course Memphis Jokes is going 100. Love to see it. Let's get into it, Neil. I just had to throw that out there because I was just. It's been a great couple of days looking at certain things happen. So Rihanna just, we're going to talk about Rihanna later. What we know about the killings of a Cincinnati deputy and an 18-year-old who was shot by police. Well, the city of Cincinnati is looking for answers after two high-profile killings on consecutive days. This is a really messed up story. On last Thursday, city police fatally shot an 18-year-old. They say he was armed. And they said he was running from them, and they shot and killed him. Now, the conventional thought is that police supposedly are not allowed to shoot somebody in the back if they're running away and they're not firing their weapon. Now, and again, it's alleged that this 18-year-old had a weapon. Well, the next day, long-serving sheriff's deputy Larry Henderson was hit and killed in Cincinnati by a car that authorities say was driven by the young man's grieving father, Rodney Hinton Jr. He's charged with aggravated murder. And the thing about it, Niel, is that this guy, I don't know what to make of this. The cop who he ran down with the car, apparently intentionally, is not the cop who shot and killed his son. And then they showed him, how this, I get it, but it also, I get this part with the cops lined up as this guy walks into the court. But to me, and I wish they wouldn't do this. All the cops come, they line up and they stand, there, and they, this form of intimidation. And I get it. They lost their brother, but this man lost his son. What he did, I'm not making an excuse for, because why go out? I'm not saying he should have targeted the officer who shot his son. But why go out and kill this man who had apparently nothing to do with your son's murder?
Mm. And so the guy that in the orange jumpsuit, he killed
Yes.
somebody that didn't kill his son
He killed
out of
another police
rage.
officer out of
Oh.
rage. Yes.
Mm.
So the quick little backstory to that too. They met at the lawyer's office. He and the family, the father there and the family met at the lawyer's office. The lawyer, they went over some details, and they said he left. He excused himself from the meeting, got in the car, and
Mhm.
I would imagine that the officer he ran over and killed was the first officer he saw. It was near the University of Cincinnati, and he walked into that court and he was really taunting those officers as they stood against that wall. They created this wall and he was
Mhm.
taunting them. And I'm thinking, man, what are you doing? What type of, you're going to jail for life, at least. I don't know if
Mhm.
Ohio has the death penalty or not, but they're going to make sure your life is as miserable as possible for
Well, it
as
sounds
long as
like it's
possible.
it sounds like it's a case of temporary insanity to me, you know.
Okay, okay. And maybe that's what's going to happen here. At least they're going to plead that way. But I'm glad you brought that up because even as I looked at that, and I usually kind of come up with that myself, but I didn't even think about
Mhm.
it like that. But because he looks like he is like whatever.
Yeah, he does. I mean, just listening to the details that you're giving, it sounds like he lost it. He
He
lost
lost
it.
it.
The first
Yeah.
cop he saw, the first
Even his
one.
attorneys, yeah, even his attorneys, they are very measured, obviously, in what they're saying, but they are also
Mhm.
saying you got to understand that they're both sides are grieving here, and this guy really,
And
he obviously
maybe he even also had a mental already had some type of mental illness. So I would be interested
right,
to see if he had mental illness ahead of time.
right.
And like I said, it sounds like he lost it.
Yeah, Orange G says, I support the black father and I will donate to his legal fund. The cop who did the killing is in protective custody. Right, exactly. And Mike V says, but his life was already made miserable with the death of his son. Um, and what was said says, black father standing on business, stop killing our sons. And, hey, maybe eventually someone will see this man as sort of a martyr too, because it's so maybe the discussion can be had in a more you know in a way in which you can finally get some resolution, tamper down at least this killing of
Mhm.
black kids and black people in general by law enforcement, because he lost it. Like you said, he obviously lost it. um Shooting his child, shooting anybody in the back is just horrible. And I just know that there's been many, many, many cases in which the law has come up that officers are not legally allowed to shoot someone in the back.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's called sanctioned police violence. We talk about it all the time. I know that's definitely a talking point for Black Lives Matter. And I'm just so glad that they're still around and they haven't stopped advocating for, police reform. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Black Lives Matter, they want to abolish the police. I understand it more and more every day. And when you say abolish, just bust it up, break it up, and reimagine something
Hmm.
different. Reimagine the concept of what public safety should really be. Because when
Yeah.
you talk about the origins of policing in America, you go back to slave catching. And so everything
Yep.
is just embedded into the fabric of this nation. It's systemic racism. And so the more and more I talk to Black Lives Matter, Dr. Melina Abdullah, and everybody over there, it's like I get it. It's like bust it up, break it open, reimagine
Hmm.
public safety, and do something different because policing in America does not support or help Black folks. Period.
Yeah, and as Greer was showing the video, is what I one of the things. Like I said, I just find that they should stop, but they'll never stop this practice of this whole all these law enforcement officers, and trying to intimidate. And remember, as I said yesterday, and I say it all the time, I mean, this guy obviously did this, but as I say all the time, the presumption of innocence, we gotta stop it, because the presumption of innocence should be there. And these cops come and they try to intimidate these suspects. They can't intimidate them on the streets, or they intimidate them on the streets, and they intimidate them in the courtroom. Judges should stop allowing this to happen in the courtrooms. This does no one any good.
Well,
You know,
one of the reasons why talking to Mr. Bakewell, Danny Bakewell, senior publisher of LA Sentinel, when these types of issues rise, he always brings up qualified immunity. And
yep,
that if you really want to make change within police departments, you have to address the police bill of rights. The
yep,
police do have a bill of rights, which ties into qualified immunity. It protects the police officers, and it just really gives them a right to kill and have no ramifications for it, whatever. And so he's always like, you could do this, you could do that, but you have to address the Bill of Rights and the
yep,
concept of qualified immunity. And we know that Ayanna Presley has been working on a bill to abolish qualified immunity. And so, like, these are the conversations that hopefully they're having at that tour, State of the People. As we look to reimagine what America looks like for Black folks and people of color, this is definitely something in the top five that should be on the agenda.
but just like you said too, with I want to just really briefly go into that too. You mentioned about reimagining public safety and police, and that was the whole thing. And this is where Democrats again fell short. They allowed the messaging, I should say, to be hijacked. That whole defund the police. They wasn't saying, Neil,
Mhm.
don't pay the police, take away police. Reimagine it. That was really what it was about. It wasn't about we don't need police officers, or we don't want police officers anymore. And they hijacked that, and Democrats stood by and really let them hijack what it really meant. It
Right.
didn't mean, you
It was
know,
it was the reallocation of funds. So instead of
exactly
pulling all of the funding into, buying guns or, force, let's
military,
right,
militarized our police department, which is what they've
right.
done.
Let's reimagine how police officers handle domestic violence calls or
Yep,
misdemeanor calls. Let's reimagine how we just address what is it, child protective services. Like,
yep,
do we need to send police officers to everything, or do we have certain agents or public safety agents to do that? It's just a reimagining of, like, no force. Everything doesn't need guns drawn, tasers. Certain
right.
situations can be de-escalated even if the police are there in the back. You have somebody else in the front. And so, to your point, yeah, like, the Democratic Party really could have embraced the concept of defund the police. It's no different than critical race theory. Them white folks in the Republican Party took critical race theory, which isn't
Yep,
even taught in elementary and high
nope,
school. It is a college concept. But they made critical race theory something. They ran, took over the school boards, and guess what? They started attacking Black history.
yep,
Started taking the Black history, taking all the books out, because guess why all this happened? Because Nicole Hannah Jones' book, The 1619 Project, was about to be implemented in the United States school system, and that white folks went crazy. So they started with critical race theory, they took over the school boards, it escalated to Black history, and now every week we talking about the Smithsonian. So
and,
to your point,
and we can ready to
Stacey,
talk about it again too.
yeah, and to your point, they know. They take over. Republicans know how to push a talking
Yep,
point. So Democrats should have embraced defund the police. Obama should have kept his mouth shut about it's a snappy phrase. And they should have doubled down and said, this is about reimagining public safety. This is
hmm,
about reallocating department funds. They don't need $50
Mm-hmm.
million. They may only need 10, and then you redistribute that money into different parts of the community. That's all they were saying. That's it.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
Mike V says Camden, New Jersey dissolved their police department and reformed it into a new public safety office and reduced the amount of police encounters with civilians. And that is exactly what you were just talking about. And
Mm-hmm.
so there you are. And Mr. Quinn Durrett says raise the requirements for police to have higher levels of IQ and address the practices that they use to keep the peace. And Power 96 Orange G says, look at Alabama. They signed into law a bill that created a special court. Yeah, we reported on that to see if the officers should be charged and protect them from civil lawsuits. That bill is worse than qualified immunity. Inferno 932 says GSP in Georgia, killings of civilians when chasing a suspect, then they pin the murder on the suspect. It's so much of that. But, we. I mean, we could talk about this forever,
Yeah.
but that defund the police thing, and you had all
And they
of
still should defund the police. Defund the police.
because you
Every
have all of the
every ounce of
tangible
it.
evidence to support what you described.
Right.
All
I
of it.
I think that a good example of how you reimagine governing your city and public safety, have to give it up to Brandon Scott, the mayor of Baltimore. Definitely trying to get him on the show. He said he's coming, so still working that through.
Hold
But
on, I'm coming, he said.
but the crime rate has gone down in Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
Murders have gone down,
Yeah.
and that is because of his leadership, and he's one of the youngest mayors in this nation. And
When
so I
you
just wanted to give a nod to Brandon Scott because that was a headline that came out, I think, last week. I was holding it because I thought we was gonna have him sooner, but in this conversation, I think it's good to point out an example of what civic and local leadership looks like when you have a good mayor who understands Black men, who
hmm
understands Black women, understands community, understands his constituents. Um, there, look, there it is. This
hmm
crime reduction, is progress, but we aren't stopping to celebrate 5 homicides in April. It's still 5 too many, and we will continue to use all tools at our disposal to prevent violence and save lives. Baltimore deserves nothing less. A
Yeah, that is
model of leadership.
he is one really cool dude,
Mm-hmm.
and really is he's rare in the realm of politicians, in that this guy actually is trying. He cares. He believes in what he's doing. And here's the rub that folks around the country probably hate. He got a black governor who is just like him.
Mm-hmm.
He is just like his governor.
And that supports
Um,
him. And that supports
right,
the
that
work that he's
supports him.
doing.
Yeah, and so Maryland, is in pretty good hands.
Yeah, it
In
is.
pretty
It
good
is.
hands. All of
Yeah.
Maryland, for that
a-
matter.
And just, to be encouraged, there are a lot of Brandon Scotts out there. Ryan Thompson yesterday, attorney over in
Let me
Louisiana.
tell you
You
something.
have,
We talked about Ross Baraka, and folks.
but
I,
yeah,
I,
but I'm
I,
talking about the
I
young
the young
millennials.
ones, yeah,
Yeah, I'm talking
yeah.
about Dr. Wes Bellamy. We've had him
hmm
on. You have Leah Webb, who is a state senator up in New York. There are tons of young people like Brandon Scott doing the work. And I'm so glad that we get to amplify them here because the change is happening. We just have to be able to highlight those things because there's so much doom and gloom right now. But they're out there and they're working.
Yeah. So you mentioned the museum. Hands off our history told Black Press USA's April Ryan that they are planning more protests like they did this past Saturday in Washington, D.C., where several
Mhm.
organizations banded together to draw attention to attempts to remove artifacts from the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Black people, this is a quote, built this country, and we will not allow anyone to erase us from the American story because Black history is American history. And that is from Melanie Campbell, the president and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. Um, April started that, really started the raising the awareness to what's really going on there about a month ago. And we knew eventually that they were coming for it. and as let it be known, of course, was there to document some things, a lot of things. And then April's story came out around the same time we went out to the museum, and it's folks are upset. Folks are really upset, and Melanie Campbell and others, they have marched around that museum, and they said they will continue to do so. They want to
Right.
be there when they are trying to take stuff out, because they say there will be a resistance.
Well, I hope so because they are taking stuff out. We had Dr. Amos Brown on last week, and he said his artifacts was coming this week. So it
Yeah.
is happening. Whether um, we need more people out there, like Melanie Campbell. She's also the founder of the Black Women's Roundtable.
Yep.
I know we saw Dr. Mark Morial, president of the Urban League. He was out there as well. And so it's kind of like what we need to see happening in Congress. Cory Booker did that. Nobody else did something. And then maybe 3 weeks later, him and Hakeem on the steps of the Capitol. There has to be a more intense protest, right? I
Hmm.
mean, these like pockets of things, they help, but we need to mobilize. And clearly, Black folks, we are really picking and deciding what we decide to participate in. So we saw a bunch of Black folks on Saturday around the museum, but all this other stuff we just not involved in. And so if we're gonna pick something to really rally behind, let's lace up our shoes and get out there and make sure that we make our statements because they've already taken the books out of the schools. They've already snatched in Black history. Let's try our best to preserve this precious gem, this jewel, this diamond that we know as the Smithsonian African American Museum.
I found in that article, and you can go to blackpressusa.com and check out the article in which you see the title there, Sounding the Alarm. In the article, April talks to various people, but she posed a quote from Lonnie Bunch from March 31st. And we know Lonnie Bunch, the Smithsonian secretary, he has been really, really quiet, at least publicly. And here's that quote that really kind of shakes you a little bit. He says, I will probably get fired at some point, but I think the goal would be to sort of fight the fight as long as you can. I thought that was a very, very interesting quote that I didn't know about until, of course, she put it in her article. He made that statement on apparently on March the 31st, and we've been wondering, what's up with Lonnie Bunch and why he's been so quiet. Well, Lonnie Bunch obviously in that statement suggests to me that his job is in jeopardy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that goes without saying. And I mean, we already know it don't take a rocket scientist to know
Yeah.
that Trump has, he wants no Black people in high level positions, number one. The only thing we're qualified to run is HUD, clearly. There ain't no Black people in that White House. And so we know that this is coming. He has too much power, too many museums. But I think anything that we can do to support and to amplify, like I say, we're picking and choosing our battles. And so our history is one of our battles to fight. And so it'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see how we rally to support. But speaking of history and our culture, last night was a huge night for Black folks in the fashion industry. The 2025 Met Gala was held. The theme was super fine tailoring, Black style, a dress code of tailored for you. So everybody was tailored. And this year's theme coincides with the Costume Institute Spring Exhibition, which happens every year. And it's of the same name, super fine tailoring style, Black style. And explores the history and significance of Black fashion, particularly the concept of Black dandyism. Now, we have a guest. I'm hoping that he is ready to jump into this conversation.
Well, yeah,
It's
now.
it's none other than Professor, brand strategist, and social commentator, Al Reynolds. Hey, Al.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? Thank you so much, Mr. Brown and Miss Anderson, for having me on. This is my first hit with you guys, so I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. And
We're excited to
last
have you.
night was a night, a time, so much Black culture, so much Black excellence. We know that the Met Gala raised 31 million last night, the biggest gross in the event's 77 years. I think that says a lot about Black folks. What were some of
Yes.
your takeaways, Al?
Listen, there are so many takeaways here. With like you mentioned before, and as this discussion has evolved this morning, we're watching, or we're in a time where people are trying to erase Black history. People are trying to erase Black influence. People are trying to remove from the schools all of the things that we brought to this country and the influence that we have globally. And what this Met Gala did was it said, we aren't going anywhere. We have dominated in sports. We have dominated in politics. We have dominated in education. We have dominated across all fields. And this last night was us dominating in fashion. Last night, it would be considered, think of it kind of like the Oscars of the fashion industry. But this is the one time that you're able to see athletes, you're able to see models, you're able to see designers, you're able to see actors and actors come to converge on one place to celebrate this institute and the influence of fashion in the United States on the world. Now, the reason why we love this one more than any of them is
Tell us
because
why.
it had Black people. It had Black people dressed the flyest that you've ever seen. But to be honest, we are also very excited about this because this is a step. Now, everyone needs to understand the Metropolitan Museum of Art historically has been a very racist institution, and they've been called on their racism on many levels. Remember, the artifacts that are in that museum were stolen from us as slaves. They were stolen from us, and we have never received reparation for the thievery that occurred and the money that they're making off of the thievery that they have had on our history. So this is also them paying homage back to our influence, and we love it. And we know that it was inspired by Dr. Monica Miller, who her book was Slaves to Fashion, which was a dedication to Black dandyism and the styling of Black identity. So for the museum not only to have that exhibit this year, but also make sure that we made sure that this Met Gala was about our Black influencers, not only in entertainment, but also into fashion across the globe. This is monumental. And I want to say this to everyone that's listening and who has a chance. Neil brought something to our attention. This is the highest grossing benefit thus far in the history of the Met Gala. But we need everybody's hands on deck. We need everyone to donate more because, as they are saying in the press today, they're saying that it was underperformed, like that. It wasn't as flashy. It wasn't as nice. It wasn't as fun. You know how we combat that? We combat that by showing them not only do people of color bring more money, but we bring the most money ever. So we need everyone to go out and donate to Met Gala 2025, which is Black Dandyism. I donated my $100, but listen, it doesn't take that much. All we need everyone to do is donate at least $1. If you're listening to me, please go donate $1 so that we can show not only our influence on the clothes that we wear, but the money in our pockets as well. We can learn a lot from Dr. Jamal Bryant in this Target thing, and he is showing and speaking loud to the U.S. economy and the big companies. We need to do the same in this.
Al Reynolds, you broke it down. I mean, you even stole some of my questions. You answered some of my questions before I got a chance to ask them, because you really did a great job breaking it down. But what impressed you the most last night?
So what impressed me the most, number one, is that It's our style. It's our style. We understood the assignment, and we understood the assignment on so many different ways. We understood the assignment. Quinta Brunson, one of the hottest names, A-listers now on the red carpet, on all carpets, on all entertainment carpets, decided to go with Sergio Hudson, an African-American male designer, as she did her interpretation. Sierra, we love Sierra and Russell. She just decided to use her platform to highlight Laquan Smith, an
Wait,
African American designer.
wait.
We had
Let's look right
oh
here. We
sorry.
have Cardi B and ASAP Rocky. What do you think about those looks?
So Cardi B. Well, first of all, Cardi B always understands the assignment. We love that Afro. We love that
Mm,
Afro hairstyle, that Afrocentric. Her outfit was tailored to the gods. It was suit. Remember, it was supposed to be gender fluid. It's supposed to be all about the tailor, and her tailoring was impeccable. She is
impeccable.
wearing money green, which is an African American color favorite. And when I say she hit all the marks, she hit all the marks. ASAP Rocky has been a visionary when it comes to rappers stepping out on the other side of redefining what and how you're supposed to look. And he has never missed when he goes on any red carpet, and definitely didn't miss this year. Congratulations, ASAP Rocky, because Rihanna appeared on the carpet looking just equally as beautiful but big, because they are expecting their third child. And of course,
She slay.
she understood the assignment even in her 8th or 7th month. So congratulations. Some other people that I really like. Oh, that's
That's Dolce.
Dochi. Dochi has been killing it this year. I was very surprised to see her in Louis Vuitton, but I think that was in support of Pharrell, because he's the creative director of the largest fashion house in the world.
Right.
That
A
was
lot
what
of people thought that Dolce was gonna wear Tom Brown,
Tom Brown.
because
Well,
she
that's
wears
what
a
she's
lot of
been
his
wearing
clothes.
all
Mhm.
season. But I think and Tom Brown is a very suited and booted type of tailored brand, but I think she wanted to support, and I'm assuming she wanted to support Pharrell by wearing one of Pharrell pieces. Now, this is my man right here, Andre 3000. Andre 3000 was someone that I was hoping to see on the carpet and turn it out. And baby, I don't know what this piano is doing, but I love him anyway.
They
I'm
said
sure
it's a
there's some.
story behind it. Yeah, I
Right.
want to
I'm
know what
sure
the
there is
story
a
is.
story behind it. I haven't seen it, but this I would have to say I was expecting him to really do his thing as far as the fashion is concerned. And he is a story within himself. But I think channeling his music and putting his piano there also speaks to dandyism, because remember, dandyism is basically your expression of saying that you don't have, it's a resistance expression that you don't have to conform. It's about identity, it's about dignity, and it's about defiance in the world. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's
You
defying
brought up
fashion.
something. You brought up something yesterday. Al joined us on the Shade Rooms coverage yesterday. For the Met Gala. You brought up the significance of the tail of a tuxedo.
That's
Can
right.
you briefly talk a little bit about what the significance of black men and women wearing the tail of a tuxedo last night?
Absolutely. So, what we understand about the tail of the tuxedo is that it is an expression of resistance. It is an expression of identity. It is an expression of no longer being held to a certain standard in order to express yourself and to be considered fashionable. We always gonna put an extra long lapel or extra long tail on something, or collar on something, or a color on something. And we have to understand that the tail, which was worn by Lewis Hamilton, the tail, which was worn by Tiana Taylor, one of the best dressed on the carpet, the tail, which was worn by Coleman Domingo, the tail, which was worn by Dapper Dan. That tail represents our stance in fashion and our influence in the world. We do not and will not and ever will we bow down to the norms that you've defined as
Right.
fashion. We make our own. So the wearing of the tail is that expression. I had on tails last night. We saw that one of the fastest guy in the world, his name is escaping me, wore tails last night. Who else?
Noah.
Come on.
I think it's Noah.
Noah. Yeah, Noah.
Mhm.
Uh, wore tails last night. The tails has a very significant expression, and it's sending an unspoken word that it's not only tailored, but it's an expression of us and who we are, and we don't have to conform. And that's the best thing about this entire night. We have been we have been put off these carpets or
Ooh,
not allowed on these carpets for years.
I love this
Yeah,
look right here. Desmond
you like
Idris. I mean
that's
Damson
that.
Idris. The dramatic
Yes.
entrance.
I
I
didn't really
just loved it.
understand coming out of an astronaut or out of a race driver's jacket, but who cares? It was
Well, it's his
fantastic.
next movie. His next movie is he's a race car driver, and
Oh,
so it
okay.
was yeah. So he was
Makes
tying
perfect
in his
sense.
next little
Well,
promotion.
here's the thing. So forever we've heard the expression "black don't crack," right? And
Uh-huh.
and if there was a picture in a dictionary about black don't crack, it had to be Miss Diana Ross. Oh my God!
Absolutely.
Talk about Diana Ross last night.
Well, you got to understand, Miss Diana Ross has been on every carpet for the last 60 years at the highest level. For her to come and shut the carpet down, I'm not sure what she wore. Some were saying that it could have possibly been Chanel, but whatever it was dandyism at the finest. Her train went down 22 stairs. Her presence in her hat let you know that it's about celebration. It's about us celebrating Black fashion, us celebrating Black designers, us celebrating Black models, us
Yeah.
celebrating Black influence. And you're absolutely right. She is also exemplary of Black does not crack. But look at that smile, look at that
Mm.
energy, look at that glow. It's something that no one can ever deny her greatness and also her still presence and influence in fashion.
Yeah.
And you talk
And
about
that
somebody who is nearly 80 years old.
right. Another thing that we talked about was how a lot of white folks missed the assignment.
Right.
Dandyism is about color. There was lack of color. It was like some people were saying that the white folks thought that
Yes.
they wear black, they good, or
Right.
they were tailored, but there was just no imagination of the whole concept of dandyism. But one of my favorite white honorable mentions was Demi Moore.
Oh,
That bow
absolutely.
tie that she had
Yes.
on, that was
Yes.
met. That was
Yes.
definitely met.
I think, Demi Moore did an excellent job as far as covering from the majority. It's so funny to me that you said that because they hire stylists the same way anybody else hires stylists, and for a stylist to fall short at this level is it's right dang on right disrespectful. Because remember, this theme was about bespoke tailoring with cultural significance. So, 101 style 101. If you went to any styling school, all you great stylists that styled these A-lister non-melanin folks, you know that if you go straight to the books of Harlem Renaissance and you pull out pictures and you pull out patterns and you pull out textiles, you pull out seams, you pull out Western tailor, you marry that to vibrant colors and bold patterns, you use tons of statement accessories like
Right.
ornate canes, pocket squares, embellished hats. You also do gender fluid fashion, and it's a homage to Black fashion icons as well. So they could have chosen many things to
Right.
support us in many ways. And for them to fall short simply speaks to their stance on where we stand in Black fashion. But don't worry, we still raise the most money. We still look better
Right.
than everybody else. And we still had more Black participants in the history of the Met Gala since the 40s.
I know another thing that we paid attention to was how certain news outlets, because only certain news outlets had news feeds that everybody could
Right.
pull from, and we know none of them were black owned. But there was a moment, the Madonna moment and the Nicole Kidman moment. I think Sierra was on the red carpet during this time, and the camera stayed on Madonna. And
Madonna.
then when Angela Bassett hit the carpet, everybody wants to see Angela Bassett, but the news feed stayed on Nicole Kidman. And I mean, I just think like that just speaks to what you were talking about, like understanding the assignment, understanding
Right.
who was supposed to be focused on. But I want to talk to you quickly about the chairs. But before, you had Ann Wintour The honorary chair was LeBron James, who was
Yes.
MIA. But Savannah hit that carpet and she slayed.
Baby, she hit that carpet hard. Sure, let's talk about those chairs. Let's talk also about some of our icons that weren't there. Now, LeBron James, we cannot beat up LeBron James. LeBron James allegedly was not able to make it because he had an injury. I say the injury was not only on his body physically, but on his ego because they lost. But he's an athlete. But let me tell you something. We cannot talk negative about LeBron. He is the chair with the most influential woman in fashion in the world, which is Anna Wintour. When's the last time you saw a billionaire black athlete serve that role? Now, remember, LeBron has also been a trendsetter and a trailblazer for black men fashion when it comes to tailored clothes. When he first came out, he used to wear those big zoot suits, but he immediately brought it into a more tailored look and gave black males the permission to have tightness around their thighs, to show their ankle, to show their muscles. And what you've seen is nothing but fashion evolve in a different direction for black athletes. So we will always praise LeBron James and his influence on black male fashion, and especially for this event. Coleman Domingo was there. Now, Coleman Domingo, what a great guy. He has been for the last 2 years really cementing his position in the fashion world, not only in the African-American community, but globally and also internationally and in the U.S. with his fashions when he is styled by two black male stylists who have really brought him to the forefront. Last night he did an icon tribute to Andre Leon Talley by wearing the blue cape. In the beginning, everybody was like, what is that big old drape thing? That was his tribute to the icon Andre Leon Talley, who was one of the only black males that were allowed on the Met Gala carpet back in the day. A$AP Rocky and Pharrell, as you know, always kill it. But I want to give a special shout out to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, for those who do not know Lewis Hamilton, he is one of the biggest names in motorsports, but he is also evolved as one of the biggest names in fashion. Lewis Hamilton, a couple of years back, actually is the first athlete, the first black male to buy a table and invite only black designers to sit at the table when they were not being invited to the Met Gala. Lewis Hamilton did that as a multimillionaire with his influence and his money. He honored them, and that helped spark this conversation about making this Met Gala black this year and honoring black designers and black people and black fashion. Our hat goes off to Lewis Hamilton, and baby, did he not wear us out on the carpet. He wore all white, and let's be very clear, Lewis Hamilton wore a black designer. And his name was Wells Bonner. Sorry, guys, I'm teaching.
Professor. Okay, so I think you brought up prices. So tickets for the Met Gala are as high as $75,000. Tables are as high as $350,000. Before we let you go, we have to talk about an honorable mention who should have probably been a co-chair. But let's give it up for Dapper Dan and his contributions to dandyism, hip hop culture. What did you think about his look last night? Al?
Keep talking. There's an announcement here at the school, so I'm just gonna wait till the announcement go, and I'll come back to you.
Okay, well, another Stacey, what besides Diana Ross, who did you enjoy?
Well, obviously, despite the baby bump, Rihanna, but I thought, and I think Al Reynolds has broke this down really well. I this is the first time, seeing the Met Gala and thinking, wow, just about everybody played the part the right way. Everybody, as he said, understood the assignment. So it was really enjoyable to see that nobody was over the top, really. Nobody was, I just think that everybody did what they were supposed to do for the most part. Like, I wanted to ask Al Reynolds about Lisa from Blackpink as the question that I posed to the audience with the picture of Rosa Parks stitched into her underwear. Did you catch that, Al, at all? And if
Absolutely.
So, your thoughts on that?
Listen, there are a couple of things going on here. First of all, I've never seen this many Black people on the Met Gala carpet. And you got to understand what that means to have more than one or two or three or four. To see 50 plus Black people on the Met Gala carpet is sending a message not only to our young Black and brown kids, it's sending it to adults that you no longer have to conform. You too are beautiful. You too can dream. You too can go to the most exclusive events in the world and participate and look good and wear how you feel, what you think, like your expression. Why did she put Rosa Parks on her underwear? Because Rosa Parks was her identity. It was her expression. Rosa Parks stood for resistance. Rosa Parks stood for we will not conform. Rosa Parks stood for there needs to be a change. Rosa Parks stood for the basics of racism should not be allowed for any human being. It's not a civil right. It's a human right.
So
And it's a
wait, so
human right.
so you think it was okay for her to put Rosa Parks on her panties?
Listen, I think that, remember, you can't make a rule and then when people follow it, you try to change it. So the rule was express yourself in the way that you feel like you want to express yourself in your expression of self-identity, self-expression. So if she thought that Rosa Parks was a homage and that was going to be, listen, I'm gonna find a positive because if you put me on anybody's tail, I'm gonna beat you up. But that's a whole nother conversation. Right? You're not gonna wear me on your butt. You're gonna wear me on your shirt or something. But that's another conversation. But to make that a part of the conversation, let's move it forward in a positive way. Rosa Parks stood for a lot of oppressed Black people in America, and to have her on that carpet in one form of a fashion, I'm gonna find the positive of what it was, not the negative, right? So for me, I'm gonna overlook the positioning of Rosa Parks, but I'm going to definitely speak on her presence at the Met Gala. Now, Noelle, you had asked me a question earlier.
Who is Noelle?
I mean, Neil. Listen, and I've been to her house. I've been to her house on multiple occasions. She's fed me on multiple occasions.
Okay, no, but let's go back. We're running out of time, but we want to get a couple more questions in. I said an honorable mention should have been a co-chair. His contributions to hip hop and just fashion in general. What were your thoughts on Dapper Dan's look and his contributions to dandyism?
Oh my gosh. I mean, what can you say about Dapper Dan? Dapper Dan is dandyism. Dapper Dan has kept alive the Harlem Renaissance and the feelings of the Harlem Renaissance all the way up until the 22nd century, correct? Dapper Dan, remember, had a partnership with Gucci. And remember, Gucci used to be the sponsor of this event. Now, he no longer has that partnership. So there may have been some type of contractual agreement with him being on a chair or a co-chair with Anna Wintour. I would assume that it's very political. Everything around Dan and his influence, because his influence isn't just in the United States, it's international, has probably some type of political play in it. But to see him on the carpet and to see him absolutely just hit every mark, from his eyeglasses to his accessories to his chain to his hat to his collar to his suit, and he had tails, to the art that he had on his clothes, what he and how he wore it, which was his original, which is made by him, speaks to the spirit and embodies the entire thing. So of course, Dapper Dan, everybody bowed down and everybody kissed his ring, and everybody should, because he's earned it.
Well, again, you guys talked about the table cost and this cost. Where does the money go, Al Reynolds?
Well, we're not going to talk about that.
Well, you just asked us to
What?
give $1. You said you gave $100. You want us
Yes. Well,
Let
we
me
know
just
that
say this. Let me just say this.
Uh-huh.
We have been tasked to give money to the Smithsonian African American Museum, and you just told us to give $1 in money to the Met. Which one we give it to?
Look, listen, we are in a state of emergency here in the district in Washington, D.C. as it relates to the African American Museum. We need to give all the money we can over there. But you got to think about this, Neil. who do we give that money to and where does it sit? We don't want to give money to
Mhm.
the African American Museum and then Trump takes the money and takes all the black stuff and shut it down, right? We want to give it to, and I want to make sure, I'm sure you guys know the correct organization to give that to, because as you know, the executive director is being transitioned. Now, all I'm saying as it relates to the Metropolitan Museum of Art is for a very long time, they said that we could not bring numbers. They said that about us being lead actors. They said that about us as models being on magazines, that we don't draw the money. All I'm saying is if you can give $1 to this particular Met Gala 2025, let's show not only to America, but to the world that people of color have, will, and will continue to be the biggest money raisers, the biggest influencers across the globe.
But where does the money go? Was the
So it
question.
goes to a benefit. Let me see. I can look this up for you. I did look this up, and I knew this that you would ask me something that I'm not prepared for. That is Niel. I promise you. As we sit at her kitchen table, we always have these debates. I'll find out for you.
Yeah, okay. You let us know later.
Let
But
us know.
in a nutshell, before we let you go, what is your takeaway from this year's Met?
That it was a fantastic success. It was definitely a Black people moment. It was a full circle moment. It was about excellence. It was about identity. It was about resistance. It was about beauty. It was about color. It was about everything that everybody in this country wants to be as it relates to fashion. And not only did we show up, but we showed out.
Yes.
Al
Thanks
Reynolds,
so
we
much.
appreciate you
Yes.
All right,
joining us
Yes.
this morning.
Yes. Yes.
absolutely. Thank you so much. Everybody
All
have a
right.
great day. And thank you for allowing me to participate.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Peace out. Yes. I mean, I'm still metting. I want to get on that red carpet one day, not to walk it, but just to produce it and just to see it.
So I would
Love it.
imagine it. So is there like a dinner or something on the inside there? Because we only see the
Yes.
pictures and the red carpet. There's got to be a
Yes.
dinner and
No,
all
so
that,
there's a
right?
dinner. And so Meg
Hmm.
the Stallion, Dochi, and Angel Reese, they gave us some what was on the menu. They had cornbread and caviar. They had what else did they have? They had little lobster appetizers. They had all types of like appetizers things. I know a year or two ago, the funny story coming out was Tiana Taylor had Chick-fil-A delivered inside the Met Gala because she
Yeah, I
was
remember
like,
that.
I'm not doing all that. But last night it seems like Angel Reese and Meg the Stallion really enjoyed that. Their favorite was the cornbread and caviar. Angel Reese said
Hmm.
that cornbread was bussin'. So so yeah, so I mean, and they had a choir inside. It was very Black. So hats off to Ann Wintour. I don't know if she redeemed any qualities, but for me, she knocked it out the park with this one. And I think to Al's point, Andre Leon Talley was probably just smiling and dancing in heaven. Because
Hmm.
last night was definitely a hat tip to him and to everything, all of his contributions to the fashion industry that he had to fight for.
Yeah, David Youngblood says he would like to be outfitted by a designer for this kind of event.
Right. I'm with you, David. Yes, yes. I wanted to be tailored, snatched with a pop of color. I would have had on all the color. Honorable mention too is Tracy Ellis Ross. She looked stunning. And she definitely played into the costume, the creativity, and the extravagance of what the Met Gala is all about. And she hit dandyism on the head. So many more people. But if you want to see all of the looks, have to do a shameless plug. You want to head over to the Shade Room. All of our social handles. I mean, they covered it from top to bottom.
Yep.
Pictures are still coming out. So if you want to see all the looks, just head on over to the Shade Room.
Yeah, and he mentioned Cardi B, and I thought, you always expect her to be over the top with something or underdressed somehow, but she
Mhm.
pulled it off. She was very, very stylish, very classy.
Yeah, she looked like
They
she was going to the Players Ball. I was like, girl,
Yeah,
let's
but I
go
think
to
they
the
all, for
Players
the most
Ball.
part, they all did. And you mentioned who did you just mention? But several people you mentioned, they I think they pulled it off.
Yeah, Kerry Washington looked great too. I loved her look.
Hmm.
Like I said, in my honorable white mention is Demi Moore. That look of her being a tie. She was a tie. She had the loop on her head. I loved it. It was very
I love how she
scary. They're scary.
there. I love how Demi Moore, despite her, the fact that Bruce Willis, remarried and she went on with her life, and how she helps take care of him, and shows. Well, I don't know if she helps take care of him, but she shows so much
Tyler, look
care
at Tyler
for
Perry.
him.
Yes. Taraji P. Henson.
Hmm.
I mean, there were so many good looks, so many delicious looks. Savannah, she represented her man well. This
They
one
look
was a hit or
nice.
miss for me. It was a hit or
They look
miss for
nice
me with
though.
this bunch.
I'm not all into the stripes like that, the whatever that is you call it or whatever. But they're a nice looking couple though.
Lewis Hamilton co-chair. Yeah, it was good. Coco Jones. Everybody looked fat. La Roche. He was definitely felt the vibes. He pretty much was like the passing of the baton from Andre Leon. I think La Roche has the baton now for sure. I definitely
Mm.
think he has to. But we can go on and on about the man. We should have just did a whole hour, but we have to move on. I have a few quickies for you. This one
All
is
right.
going to get the fellas in the chat and you going, Stacy.
Oh
I got to
Lord.
know how y'all feel. So Paul Pierce has been going on podcasts talking about relationships, marriages, and everything. And his latest headline, very interesting, ladies. You're gonna want to chime in on this too. So Paul Pierce is trending because the former NBA star is saying that Black NBA players, I think this goes for sports men across the board, but he's saying that athletes date white women because they apologize more.
His black card is gonna have to go.
Are
His
you
black card is gonna
switching
have
out
to go.
today? Are you
Yes, his
switching
black
out?
card. Remember that, folks. When we get to the black card, yes, that is the most ridiculous thing. Apologize for what? All he's
You know what
saying.
though? I kind of believe it. I kind of believe that they do apologize more.
Listen,
You know,
maybe
they
they do.
tolerate
Look,
more. You know, some of
and
that
that's it. That's it.
because some of that stuff we ain't gonna tolerate. So I mean,
That's
he
it.
kind of has a point.
That's it. Take your Boston Celtics losing behind on out of here with
But
that
if he has a
nonsense.
point, what is wrong with him saying that? He does have a point. We not gonna tolerate everything.
No,
They
he just said
will.
they don't mind being. Look what he said. White women because they're more appreciative. Lie. Apologetic. Don't mind being held accountable. Lie. Give me a break. He had more. Thank you, Orange. Paul Pierce had more strippers than a P Diddy party. Give me a break.
Didn't he lose his contract or something because of women or something?
No,
Was
that
that
wasn't
him?
him. No, it
Who
wasn't
was
him.
that? Who was
That was the
that?
coach.
No, there
Wasn't that
was an
Nia Long?
NBA. There was no. There was an NBA player that had a contract with the network, and they lost their job because there was a video going viral with them and women. And let me Google it.
Well,
I'm
I
go-
hope it was him
yeah, I
making a
think it was
stupid
him.
statement like that. Now, how
Be-
we say all the time. We hear every guest say this: black people, black women, we're not a monolith. And here he go putting everybody in the same box.
Right, because
Everybody in the same box.
Jalen Hurts was on the red carpet with his beautiful wife last night. She had on a beautiful burgundy dress, and he had on his beret. And another one was Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick looked dandyism, okay, with his wife.
But come
uh,
on.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, well, he said
all
it.
that he didn't just say. That's my problem. It's not just apologize because again, that's crazy in itself. Appreciative. Why are you gonna do something like? Why would you say something like that? Held accountable? It's like I think this guy's into some Shannon Sharp stuff, and that's all. That's all that's telling me. He's into that whole. Let me find me a 19-year-old OnlyFan that I can take advantage of, like Shannon Sharp.
Oh yeah, no, he was fired. He was fired from ESPN, but now he is saying that criticizing ESPN for the double standard after keeping Shannon Sharp. So he does
They
feel a
didn't keep
certain
him.
way because he had like some strippers or something or a raunchy
Yes,
video,
that's
and he was
right. That's
fired.
right.
Yeah, I knew. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So that's what it was.
Paul
So
Pierce, you're not the truth. Get lost.
He's
Next.
from LA. Okay, next.
Who cares?
Since we talking about white women, let's keep it going. Okay, so the white woman from Minnesota who called that black child on the playground the N word, she's raised over $600,000 through a crowd sourcing campaign. Folks are really feeling like she needs to be protected, Stacy. And not only that, the crowdsourcing fund had to black out some of the comments because they're racist, like white power, we got
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
And so I mean, and just think about what happened to Carmelo Anthony, the young man whose bail was decreased by the judge. The judge had to go into hiding. He had to go into hiding because of death threats. But this white woman can call a child the N word. Why does she need protection? Why does she need $600,000? She wasn't. Was she arrested? She wasn't even arrested.
Nope. 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 Same reason why the family of the woman who was an insurrectionist and got herself shot because she was attacking law enforcement, and the Trump administration gave her millions of dollars, gave her family millions of dollars. You know, this is what this is what we live. The whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. So here
Right.
we are.
That's an old number. As of now, she's up to $600,000, folks. For
Goodness
calling.
grief.
Yeah.
Goodness grief.
And the
It's
goal
just
is
it's
1 million.
absurd. It's absurd. The goal is 1 million. That's absurd.
For what? For what?
So because you called a little child the N-word, that's it.
Mm.
Folks. Uh
All right, we
I
got
tell
one
you what,
more. Let's.
Denmark and Africa and all that sounds really good.
I'm telling you, I'm loving the space that us black folks are in. Although we're in a horrible Trump clan administration, the way we are thriving and living and picking and choosing what we gonna be mad about is what black liberation is all about. Okay. And this next story, we gonna pass Becky on, and we gonna go to next story. Asia Wilson, who is a black woman that is thriving. She has a new Nike campaign, and Stacy, guess who directed the commercial?
Oh yes, I know.
Tell me.
Obama's daughter.
Malia Obama directed the commercial. It's going viral. And so it's always so good to see the Obama kids pop up every now and then. They are living their best lives. And I think they prove that if you want to live a private life, you
Mhm.
can. You can.
Yeah, they are living a private life. There was there was a few incidents a couple of years ago on their campus, on one of the girls, I forget which one, on their college campus, where paparazzi had staked them out, and it was horrible to see. But that seems to have been the only incident, at least that became public. So they're living a very private and successful life, and good for
Successful
them.
life. Yeah, and from this headline, that's the second. She's directed 2 Nike videos with Asia Brown showcasing the new basketball shoe. I know some of the shoes were worn during the women's Final Four. Some of the ladies wore Asia Wilson's shoe, and so it's just so good to see too the buying power of black female athletes. I know Angel Reese is over at Reebok, and she just released her garment attire campaign, and so women in basketball. Your girl was at the Met Gala last night.
Yes, Angel was there.
Flage, and Flage
Oh,
was there.
Flage was there. I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
didn't see
she was
that.
there too. And so it's just
Okay.
so good to see women in sports actually getting their flowers and being highlighted just as much as the male athletes. So shout out to Asia Wilson and of course the Malia Obama.
They have really brought a lot of attention, good attention, to women's basketball. Asia, Flage, of course, Angel Reese, your girl out USC, the best, the greatest, the GOAT,
Juju, who's healing.
Juju, yeah, who's healing. They have really brought some amazing. They have never had this type of attention before in women's basketball. So good for
Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so It is time to revoke somebody's black card.
Hmm.
And Paul Pierce definitely is. You got to remove his. The other is another athlete, Robert Griffith III,
Okay.
the former trash quarterback of the Washington at the time Redskins and otherwise NFL failure, had the audacity to downplay the accomplishments of Jackie Robinson, Jesse Owens, Jack Johnson, and other African Americans. He claimed breaking baseball's color line, winning 4 gold medals at a hostile Olympics, and becoming the first black heavyweight champion aren't events that should be used to push political agendas, and that they had had no political implications at all. Most stunning, he claims that these events were only about sports. I mean, Jesse Owens, they turned that, of course, into a political thing. Power to the people. I mean, breaking the baseball color line, Jackie Robinson had no political implications, according to RG3. Jack Johnson, being the first black heavyweight champion, had no implications. Dr. Joni says this sounds very MAGA-esque. Exactly. RG3, as you threw so many interceptions, you did it again off the field this time. Go away. Don't even think about coming to the picnic. The barbecue is closed, and you're done.
Right.
You're done.
Cookout.
You're finished.
No cookout.
No cookout.
No cookout.
We're done with him. RG says RG3 is married to a Mayo lady, another black athlete who attended a PWI. David Youngblood says Robert's comments are outrageously uninformed. And see, you have time to inform people. I don't have time for it. Neil be like, "Oh, we got to have a dialogue." I'm like, off with the heads.
Yeah, I mean, being a media and a journalist, you gotta have a dialogue.
He's like, we gotta sit down and have some milk and cookies with him.
No, it's not milk and cookie. It's just, you can learn from anybody, even if it's the wrong thing. You can learn. And so those conversations to me are interesting, because I'm always shocked at their level of passion for Klan stuff. Or for I'm just always amazed, and they're so passionate and they double down. And so anytime I can be calm about a conversation and then interject something, and they'll pause and they'll I feel like I've done my job in this conversation. Okay, at least you thinking about something,
See, those are folks. See, where I'm coming from, I should say, those are folks that it's getting dark and they're coming down the road and they stop and say, "We're such and such," and I send them right to the sundown town. Yeah, right.
That's
there. Make
funny.
a left to the right.
That's funny.
Let me know how you make out. Oh man, but yes. Goodbye, RG3. It was enough of you anyway. You and Paul Pierce. Y'all go and find y'all some, as y'all say, obedient, apologetic white women. Get out.
Right. There you go. I mean, that's what they like. That's what they like.
Get out. Why she got, it's nothing wrong. If you marry outside your ace, that's up to you. But why she gotta be apologetic? Why are you looking for an apologetic white woman? How can't you just look for a white woman? Give me a break.
And to counter that, Black women are supportive, and we know how to be apologetic.
Absolutely.
So we know how to be all of those things. But what we're not gonna do is tolerate the BS. Okay, that's what we're not gonna do. And guess what? We do have we do talk back. We do have we are very familiar with call and response. We learned that in the church on Sunday. Okay, we were good at call and response. Okay, we do have a response.
Listen, Orangey's wife don't talk back.
The mothers of the church taught us how to respond. Okay, you call, we respond.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, you call, we respond. Sometimes it's sweet. Sometimes it's bitter. It depends on what type of call you giving. But at the end of the day, in relationships, like the Bible says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Okay, we're not gonna let the sun go, not unless you do something to where it might take a couple of
He
suns
said
rotating around the earth.
RG said he has never won an argument.
And see, that's the good husband. That is the proper response. That is the response to long marriages.
Is that right?
That's the response. You know, I know you ain't never won an argument in your household.
Listen, I don't win an argument with you. How am I win an argument anywhere else?
But you definitely don't win them at home.
Oh, I definitely don't win them at home. You got women at home. That's and they black women, all of them.
You know,
you picked the wrong. Listen, it's the wrong venue.
And see, you're a girl dad, so I know you know how to apologize. You the white woman in the house. Oh, that's it. You the white woman.
Now wait a minute. Listen.
Don't take it too far, huh?
I do not put raisins in my potato salad. Come on.
Okay.
I don't do that. I don't have mayonnaise sandwiches.
Do we have any answers for the pop quiz? Can we get the question back up real quick?
Yeah. What's the answer for the pop quiz? Come on, Greer. Give us the pop quiz again. Which abolitionist born into slavery became one of the first black women to win a U.S. court case against a white man, fighting to reclaim her son sold illegally in Alabama? All right.
Okay.
What's the answer? Are we waiting for the answer? Okay, we got to go through our.
So we have no answers in the chat, so none of us know. Ooh, we gonna learn something today. Okay.
We're gonna learn. Yep. All right. So some black facts before we get to the answer. On this date in 1960, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the Civil Rights Act of 1960, which established federal inspection of local voter registration polls and penalties for obstructing someone's attempt to register to vote. The bill was drafted in response to an outbreak of violent attacks on churches and black schools in the South. In addition to paving the way for a stronger legislative protection against discrimination, like the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the act also broadened the reach of the 1957 Civil Rights Act by prohibiting bombings and local interference with federal court orders. Isn't it amazing that there have been several Civil Rights Acts?
Right. And it's just a reminder that freedom is fought every day. It's not given. It's not a given thing in this country. We continually fight for just basic human rights.
Just basic human rights. Exactly.
That's the Voting Rights Act or Civil Rights Act of 1964, right? Do you see Dr. King behind him?
Oh, yes, correct.
And passing out of all the pens. I always say I wish Dorothy Heights could have been there, but that was during a time where men dominated. But she was definitely on the forefront of making sure that Lyndon B. Johnson signed that bill. And so I think you see Whitney Young from the Urban League, the Big Six.
Yeah. Why do you think? I know we don't have a lot of time. I often think of this. Why do you think that Lyndon Johnson and Dwight Eisenhower, why did they sign these bills? Why did these bills even pass at the time?
There's a movie I'm probably gonna have to go watch. It's a really good movie about Lyndon B. Johnson and the Voting Rights Act. I forget what it's called, but it really never has anything to do with us. It's always another plan, like Abraham Lincoln. Freeing the slave wasn't for us.
That wasn't his right. Exactly.
It wasn't about us.
100%.
It's never really about us.
Nope. Speaking of movies, so they get ready to pick a new pope, right? And
you sure it's not Donald Trump? I thought Donald Trump.
Listen, that's why I wonder when that white smoke comes out, Donald might be the guy.
He posted pictures on the White House handle.
White House handle. But I saw a movie. I watched a movie yesterday called The Conclave. They actually won a couple of Academy Awards. and it was my wife's her best friend. She had me watch it with her, and it was amazing. This movie, The Conclave, it was step by step from the time we turned it on.
Mm-hmm.
It was riveting. This is an interesting movie at a time when they about to pick a pope. Y'all should check it out if you can. I mean, I don't usually boost up these type of movies, but check out The Conclave if you get a chance. You will
Greer
enjoy
said great,
watching it.
yeah. Greer says great movie. I saw it twice. I've tried to watch it a couple times,
Oh
but I
man,
got distracted. But
I
because
wasn't
of
even
the time we're
interested.
in, yeah, I might give it
Yeah,
another try.
I wasn't interested. She was like, "No, come watch this. Let's watch this movie." I was like, "Okay," because her and her friend they took a trip this morning. That's why I'm tired. I was up 2 o'clock in the morning taking them to the airport. But we watched this movie, and I was like, "Okay," because I don't usually watch religious movies,
Hmm.
and this one here with the Pope and everything, and she's like, "It's PG," so because I don't do R stuff or whatever. She's like, "It's PG," and I was like, "Okay." Man, I just like, wow.
Hmm.
From every single second of that movie, it will keep you in stitches, and that it's based on total truth.
Right.
And the end, if you haven't seen it, the end will
Don't give it away.
surprise
Oh,
you.
okay.
I'm
I'm
not.
gonna
The
watch it
end will
today.
surprise you.
I'm taking a
Yep.
break today. I'm really tired. I'm gonna watch that. Greer says the choosing of the Pope is very
Very
political.
political.
All fact. Another one, since you watch that, you should go binge watch the Borgias. The
The
Borgias is,
Borgias.
yeah. So the Borgias is like he was one of the first popes. His son Cesare is believed to be the image that they created the image of Jesus from. um Goes all the way back. It's based on a true story, and it just talks about the Pope was treacherous. He was more treacherous than the king, okay,
Hmm.
during that time period. So I think it's on net no Prime right now. But if you like Conclave, Stacy, definitely check out the Borgias. I think it's like 2 or 3 seasons of it. Really
Oh
good,
wow.
really good.
And by the way, RNG says they signed those bills because the rest of the world was telling them, "Don't tell us how to live," while you treat the American Negro worse than dirt. It's always about them. It's always about
Hmm.
them. All right. Well, another Black History fact.
Okay, on this date in 2020. Oh, okay, we were in the now. Don Harton spearheaded the construction of the National Museum of African American Music. Now it's located in Nashville, Tennessee, and the museum showcases the musical genres inspired and created and influenced by African Americans. And we went there a couple years ago for our
Yep.
conference, right?
Yes, indeed. I went to that museum a couple of times now. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would expand it. I wish they had the means to expand it. But it's really nice.
My
Really
favorite
nice.
is the choir. It's they have a couple of interactive activations in there, and one of them is where you could be, I think, a choir with Dr. Bobby Jones.
Hmm.
And it's virtual. That was really fun. And I like the hip hop part too, where you can go and learn the dances. And then they have a studio to where you could pick like one of a song from hip hop and go in the recording studio and rap. Very interactive, very fun, and most importantly, you will learn so much about the rich contributions of Black folks to music in this country.
Awesome stuff. All right, so time for the answer. I did see one person in the chat say sure. So oh gosh, Sojourner Truth. That was Michelle
Mm.
Madison. So what is it is
Woo! I wish we had
Sojourner
prizes.
Truth.
I wish we
I
had
know we
prizes.
we gotta start some prizes going. Oh wow, nice. That is awesome.
Yay! Ain't
And
I a
and
woman? Ain't I a woman?
ain't I a woman? And
Okay.
it's one of those things where you see the answer and you're like, "Dang, I should have known that."
Right, 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 right.
But nice. That is a great quiz, and good for Michelle Madison. So Journal Truth is the answer. Wow, nice. All right, so in Inferno 932, I'm with you. He says, "Wow, I didn't know that about her." Our Black owned newspaper of the day is Greater Diversity News. Greater Diversity News is a media company based in Wilmington, North Carolina, that focuses on promoting diversity and inclusion through its news, coverage, and content creation. It has a commitment to highlighting diverse voices and perspectives. Greater Diversity News, its goal is to foster dialogue and understanding within the community. So check out Greater Diversity News. Let it be known's Black-owned newspaper of the day.
And for the latest in Black news, anything that's happening today in Black America, Stacey is gonna write a story about it. Okay, I'm telling you right now. So it's gonna be up there. You got April G. Ryan, you have Lauren, so many contributors. But most importantly, it's from all of the Black newspapers from across the country. So if you want to find out the pulse of Black America, there's one place you should go, and that's blackpressusa.com.
And there's the latest right there. Attorneys generals in D.C., New York, California, I should say, and about 20 others are suing the Trump administration over all of the determinations at the Department of Health. And they are really going in on RFK Jr. in that lawsuit. I read through it yesterday, and it is pretty straightforward and amazing. So check out blackpressusa.com and check us out as Niele checks out as she's going to bed, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm gonna watch Conclave today, so we can talk about it tomorrow. I'm gonna check that out today. That's on my lounge list.
Well, thanks for watching. Let it be known. We'll see you tomorrow.